Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hi everybody, welcome to one more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, and this week joining us from Stockholm in Sweden is Lena Löfdahl. Hi Lena, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. So Senior Agile Coach is one of her titles. She has a specialty in learning and psychological safety. Lena successfully coached over 200 teams and taught courses for 8,000 plus hours, mostly in Agile, but also in project management. She gets a lot of energy from building teams and colleagues, and watching people grow is rewarding work for her. So Lena, that was a short intro. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up becoming a Scrum Master?
Well, I knew from an early age that I really wanted to do something that I am passionate about and also hopefully great at. So I had that goal. And I also was, when I grew up, I had one of the first home computers at home. So I realized IT and technology was actually something that I wanted to do. So I joined one of the best schools in Sweden and thought, let's go computer science. And then I realized I will never be a great developer, and I will probably never be a good network technician either. So that was a bit of a disappointment or wake-up call. But then I said, okay, not everyone can be great developers. What do I have here in the vicinity of the development area that I can work with? And that is people. So I basically wanted to combine my knowledge of people with technology. So that's why I ended up being a Scrum Master. One of the best choices of my life, I would add, actually.
Yeah, and also the right place to be if you want to combine people with technology.
For sure.
Absolutely. So, Lena, as we dive into this week of shows, of episodes with you, we want to share your experience. And because today's Monday, Fail Monday, as we call it here on the show, we talk about the failure story, a story that, of course, many of us have gone through, will go through, because failure is part of learning, it is part of growing. But we want to dive into that because we know that we can learn something from it. We can take away lessons that you collected and then apply them to our own work. So share with us one story of a moment where you, Lena, as a Scrum Master, you did your best, but at that time, as it so often happens, the best just wasn't good enough. So tell us that story, Lena.
Yes. So I was working with a team and we had a pretty standard situation. We had, I was the Scrum Master, we had a PO, we had a team. But we had a lack of senior developers, so we hired one. And we were super happy in the beginning because the man was very senior and had a super good attitude during the interview. So we were excited, we were psyched, we welcomed him into the team. And then I think it was like 1 week into his position, we discovered that he had a bit of a problem when he was challenged, when he did not get his way. And then he was really kind of stepping on some of the other people. He was, I can take one example from me because we were in a refinement session and then he was questioning my competence as a Scrum Master. And he was like, do you really know how to estimate? I will send you an article now. This is how you estimate stories. This is what you should think of. And you're not doing it right. But he did that to everyone. So I didn't really kind of take it that badly, at least for me. But the problem was when he started to doing it with the other senior developers and the other junior developers as well, we had some quite severe conflicts due to his feedback. And I think of course, I sat down with him. We had discussions. We talked about his behaviors in public. And of course, he wasn't wrong always. It's just that he was like imposing his view on others, thus destroying the teamwork that we had in the team. So people basically stopped talking during refinement meetings because no one wanted to be like I'm not going to say abuse, but no one wanted that kind of behavior back. So it was refinements became super quiet. And of course, as a Scrum Master, I ended up with having multiple coaching sessions with him. And then during those coaching sessions, I remember that he admitted he might have gotten the same feedback in other places as well of his employment. So this was not the first time that he got that feedback.
Ouch. That sounds like something big is about to happen in this story.
Yes, I mean, we did see some... we saw temporary improvements after giving him feedback. It lasted like a week or two. We were super happy. Team was super happy. And then one session later, one daily later, he fell back into old habits. And I, as a coach, as a Scrum Master, I really wanted this person to work in the team. So I sat down and I spent hours talking to him, trying to get to the bottom of it. Like, why is it like this? Can we change? What do you need? Why are you behaving like this? And we had good discussions. But after a time, and in Sweden, we have this probation period for 6 months of employment. I don't know if you have it in other countries, but in Sweden we do. So after many coaching sessions, after me trying as a coach, as a Scrum Master to fix the problem, we actually had to let him go. And it was a super tough decision to take, because it felt like a personal failure. Like, why couldn't I coach this person to fit into the team? So I told my manager that we need to let him go. And I also joined the conversation, the talk that we had with him when we told him that we're not going to let him stay on. I wanted to face him in, and also being honest as why he cannot stay with us. And I was actually hoping that even if coaching didn't help, maybe letting go will help.
These are difficult stories, because they are definitely, they have a lot to do with people and of course their behavior, but also what that means for us. Like we are giving pretty bad news to someone, potentially, over time we hope they become good news, right? Like they find a better place to work, something that is better suited to their approach. But definitely tough moments. Like when you look back at this story as a Scrum Master, like what tips can you share with us about how to understand what's going on, then taking action, maybe trying to figure out what to do. But ultimately, if we get to that point where collaboration isn't possible, like what can we do as Scrum Masters to prepare this exit of a team member?
I think that if I would do it again, I would honestly, maybe this is tough, but I would get rid of him sooner. That's because he took away the confidence of the entire squad. The effect that he had on the other senior developers was very destructive. The confidence that he had on the junior developers, it was even more destructive. So it actually took us quite a good long while to get back to what we had before he joined. So I think that what I would do is that I would be more like go at it faster and take the decision faster because of the rest of the team, actually.
Yeah, there's this phrase I hear often, which is hire slow, fire fast. Yeah. That kind of reminds me also of some of those stories that I've gone through. And I have to say that I totally agree. When you first get the hint that something is not going to work, it takes a lot of effort, as you described in your story, to try to turn things around. And it's typically quite difficult.
It is. I think sometimes it's so deeply ingrained into the personal behavior that what he needed was several wake-up calls, i.e. in this case, actually getting not extended or not permanently hired. And I think sometimes in the industry as a whole, we're so on the hunt for developers, so we're willing to accept these types of behaviors, even though they're destructive to the team as a whole, just because we are so happy just to find one of the developers that we need.
Absolutely. That's definitely a warning to share with the community. Thank you very much for doing that, Lena.
And thank you.
Monday is about what we learn from our obstacles and our failures. But tomorrow is Team Tuesday here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. We explore teams and their journeys, the habits they develop that threaten their performance, how each of our guests helped their teams evolve, and the one key lesson they learned from that experience. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.